Hey guys, how's it going? So this is the second time we're uploading our weekly recap video where I take all of last week's videos and answer questions that you guys had. We uploaded the first video just a little bit ago. I had kind of shared an idea we were fleshing out with you guys, and I heard your input loud and clear very quickly, so we decided to take the video down and refilm the intro so I could, one, explain the idea a little bit more, and two, to let you know we're not going to do it. So there's a thing on YouTube where you can be a member of a channel, and you pay $5 a month to do that. We already have a bunch of members, and we thought it would be fun to create a kind of a project, like a giving project, where we took that money that's already coming in, and then maybe if there was more people who wanted to become members, and then do fun stuff for other people. And I think I used the word exclusive, which I probably shouldn't have. The idea has no bearing on what we normally do. Hold on, Benjamin's right here. The idea has no bearing on what we normally do, like there would be no exclusivity to our normal videos. We were just going to do extra projects and then maybe put the video out for just the members to watch first as kind of a perk, and then maybe upload it to everybody else later. But you know, most of you guys think that's a really bad idea. And you know, looking back, maybe it was. So anyway, I'm really appreciative of all of your feedback on that and anything else that we do, because it's all a learning process. So anyway, I just felt like I explained it poorly and wanted to let you guys know. So now here's the rest of the weekly recap video. Okay, so I'm gonna get right into the videos. The first one was cleaning and organizing the loft of our barn. So in that video, I just showed you the disaster that was our loft, and then we cleaned it up, and I went through some of the things. And it was kind of a satisfying process for us, seeing how clean it got. And I was a little bit nervous doing that as a video, because I'm like, well, this isn't really gardening, but it's a byproduct of gardening, because when we are so busy in the gardens, we neglect everything. I neglect things like that, not everything, but things like that, and it gets bad really quick. So anyway, Rita says, so what was actually in those boxes in the loft upstairs that had been up there since you moved in? So I did mention that I think like 3 or 4 of the boxes, I remember 3.5 years ago when we moved in, I set them on the floor up there, and I haven't touched them since that moment. So in those boxes, and I didn't show, and I should have, I found tennis rackets, soccer balls, tennis balls, golf balls, like random wallpaper remnants. There was some concrete mixing supplies. Also, I did find all of our childhood boxes. So Aaron has one box, and I have like 5 boxes from my childhood. So we kind of grouped all those things together, and they're up in the barn. Julie says, install a hydraulic lift instead of stairs. Yes, that would make things a lot easier. However, we are having a new set of stairs built on the back side of the barn that are stronger and that have a railing. That will help out tremendously. Good and Delicious says, you lucky ducks for being sponsored by Espoma. I would love to be able to just walk in and shop my own stash. Yes, in the very beginning of the video, I kind of went in and gave a brief look through the bottom of the barn, and you can see all of our shelves lined with all of our Espoma products, because you guys know we work with Espoma, and I've been using their stuff forever, and it is nice to have kind of a stockpile because we go through it pretty fast. Steve says, why did you move the hay racks inside? Did you keep them out last year? So 3 reasons. 1, we moved them in because it does look nicer to not have empty hay racks on the front fence line, especially when you're doing Christmas lights, because the lights don't hang quite right. So there was that reason. Second off, it does prolong the life of your baskets and your cocoa fiber liners. So we've had those planted up for 2 years. We've never replaced the liners yet, and this year we only had to toss 3. So out of, I think there's 40 hay racks up there, we still have 37 good cocoa fiber liners. We're only gonna have to replace 3. And the third reason why we moved them in is that fence might not be there this next year. Second video was decorating our new Christmas tree. So in that video, I just showed you my process of decorating our tree. I got a new artificial tree this year, which I loved when I first set it up. And then by the time I had it decorated, I wasn't so sure. It's growing on me a lot. It's looking a lot prettier to me. I think I just had to get used to the brightness of the lights. But anyway, Lynn said, why not use large bows as your topper? And that is a really good option when your angel is too small. And that's my current situation. I have the same angel that Aaron and I had the very first year we were married. So 13 years ago, we did not have a huge tree. We had small, shorter ceilings. So the angel fit our trees back then, and I just haven't bothered to replace her. I haven't found one that I really, really love yet. So anyway, I could use just large bows, but there's some sentimental value, or sentimental, is it value? Is that the right word? Sentimentality attached to the angel. So I don't know, it's kind of sweet to use those things. Have you thought about a lamp dimmer? No, but that's a good thought. I think that we could dim those lights. They're LEDs, so it's something we could definitely try. But like I said, I am getting used to the brightness, so I think in the end, it might be okay. Either way. Connie says, how are you able to have real candles burning with a cat? I'm afraid to do that as my cat may wind up trying to swat the flames. I have never seen our cats try to swat the flames. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. Typically, I only have candles lit if we are like around. I'll have like one in just a little jar, usually burning all the time on our kitchen island, and the cats don't get on that. And then anytime I have other candles burning, I'm usually around, like really close, so maybe they don't do it because of that, but yeah. I mean, I can see the fear there. I mean, why you would be afraid of that, but anyway. Cecily says, did the tree grow on you? Are you keeping the smaller version of it? Yes and yes. Danny said, I see some indoor plants on the windowsill behind you. Can you do a tour of the ones you keep inside? Yeah, that's probably something we will do. In fact, we'll probably switch our attention a little bit more to houseplants once I'm kind of through the push of the holiday decorating, because that's just naturally what I do. In the wintertime, I do a lot more houseplant related projects because I'm kind of forced to because we can't go outside. Anyway, as soon as we are past holiday decorating and I groom my plants up a lot, then I'll show you all of them. Owen asked if we were going to show you the outside lights, and we are. I'm hoping that video is done this week. They look pretty spectacular this year, in my opinion. Next video was our live video where Erin and I sat and answered questions. I made clove orange pomanders, and then I showed you using those pomanders in a simple holiday centerpiece. Joanne said, if Monty Don from Gardener's World asked you to do a spot on their show, would you do it? That would be awesome. That would be probably a career highlight for me. We talked about how, you know, we had been approached by several TV networks, and we've just always kind of decided it wasn't for us because right now we have 100% control of what we do, and we are able to stay home. We don't have to travel all that much, and that's really important to me. Anyway, but Monty Don, that's like a different caliber to me, so I would probably say yes. Leanne said, watched the replay, love these. When are you gonna do another mail time video? It's been a hot minute, it has been a while. I do have a stack of boxes and envelopes. The Garden Answer Groupies, it's a Facebook page on Facebook. It's a whole bunch of people that just love gardening. Some of them know who we are, some of them don't. It's just a really positive environment. Anyway, they kind of rallied together and they decided to send me garden themed ornaments. So I have ornaments from all over the place, even overseas. And so we will do a video hopefully this week where I unbox them all for you guys and then decorate the tree. Maureen said, how do you dry your orange slices? So I just slice them really thin and I put them on my Silpat, or you can put them on parchment paper and put them in a 200-degree oven for about 3 hours. You want to monitor them though, because it depends on how thick you slice them. That will vary your cook time. Jennifer said, is there a way that you could recommend pre-drawing a pattern on the orange that would look nice so you're not just winging it? Thinking gold or silver Sharpie or something. And Jennifer, that is a brilliant idea. In fact, I think I'm going to try that. I've got a few more I need to make, but you probably won't be able to see like a gold or silver Sharpie like you would a black Sharpie, obviously, and I think that that would be a good way so you have a design to follow. Okay, we're moving right along to the next video. It was a look back at the plants that performed this year, part 1. So in that video, we took a look at particularly annuals that did really well in the landscape for us, and we just took a look back at them. You know, we showed you pictures and update pictures, and I just talked about the plants that really shone for me. Caitlin said, are you planning to ever put a physical border between the gravel and the boxwoods around the urn? So we did show the urn in Versailles, and there's, you know, sprinter boxwoods, and then the denim and lace Russian sage, and then usually a different annual every year in between. And it's just gravel to mulch, and it is frustrating because the two want to mix with each other. We are planning a brick border. We just haven't got around to it yet. Patricia said, how do you amend or fertilize your perennial beds? I can't till or anything like that. Curious as to what you do. So in that case, I mean, I feel like even if you can't work stuff into your bed, as long as you get it in there and it's making contact with the soil and it's not sitting on top of plants, it will gradually make its way down into the soil, especially if you get, you know, you overhead water, or if you get a lot of rain. You can also make a slurry with your stuff, you know, like mix it with water and water it in so it's helping push the stuff down. Also, whenever I get ready to plant anything new, I usually put stuff, you know, if it's a really heavy clay area, I usually put gypsum at the bottom of the hole and then my biotone fertilizer. And then in consecutive years, I'll go out with plant tone or holly tone or whatever kind of fertilizer I need to use and I will just kind of scratch it in lightly with my fingers, and my plants seem to do really well with that. Seems you're always working so hard in the garden. Do you ever get the chance to just wander around and enjoy it all? Not as much as I would like to, honestly. I'm trying to be better about that, and it's gotten a little bit easier, because we have so much more help in areas that used to suck our time. Like, you know, fertilizing for us, it's like a 3-hour process every single week, and now we have help to do that. As well as watering, it was taking me between 1 and 2 hours. The first years it was taking me more time than that every single day. And when you have those tasks to do on a really consistent basis, all of a sudden your time is gone. Especially when you have then a baby and you add Benjamin to the mix, then you don't really want to spend any time outside. You want to spend time with him. So anyway, getting more help in those areas has been amazing, and it's allowed us to actually take weekends. Like we didn't, Aaron, was it 4 years we didn't ever have a weekend? We've actually not gone on a family, like a trip, like a non-work related trip in like 5 years. You guys, making videos, it's a lot of work. Not that I'm complaining. We are super blessed, and I love that we get to make a career and a job out of doing projects at home and sharing with you guys, and creating relationships and friendships with you. It's like one of the best things ever. Diva said, what is planted on the fence along the driveway? That pink looks lovely. So we did Supertunia Bubblegum, Supertunia Vista Silverberry in the hay racks this year. I think that's what you're referring to. And it was a beautiful show. Nina said, it's so nice to revisit all of those beautiful beds right now. Have a question. You posted a video on May 6th of this year, and in it you planted 3 different versions of salvia: the Perfect Profusion, Indiglo Girl, and Pink Profusion. I was super excited to find out how did they do. So I didn't talk about those in this video because they are perennial, but I did want to touch on them because 2 in particular, they all performed really, really well. But the Indiglo Girl, that one, and the Pink Profusion, I think it's just this color saturation in those 2 was amazing. The pink really wowed me, and the honeybees were just, it was a magnet. And then my lemon jade sedum that's planted right next to those pink salvia, it was just such a beautiful blend. Anyway, they all did really, really well. The Perfect Profusion is kind of like a light, it's almost a white, like kind of a light lavendery bluish white. And I think that it's a really pretty plant as well. That's by the chicken coop. So Kim said, who plays the piano and is Benjamin learning? So I think you could see our piano. It's not our piano. We're babysitting a piano for friends right now and trying to decide if we want to save for a baby grand. And I play the piano. I have since I was 4 years old. I took lessons for 17 years, a long, long time. I'm not as good as I once was because I don't play as consistently, but I try to play as much as I can, and I really enjoy it. Benjamin, I'm hoping, has an interest in music because Aaron plays the guitar and sings. My sister sings and plays multiple instruments. My brother plays the guitar. All of your siblings, right? Alyssa and Nellie, they both play the piano. They both sing. Anyway, so there's, oh, and my mother-in-law plays the piano beautifully. She plays at church and played for years and years, and I'm hoping that she's going to give Benjamin lessons. So there you go, Sue. That's my little wish. Katie said, will you be planting the gonfrina next year even though it smells bad for you? So I mentioned the truffle pink gonfrina. Though it was a beastly beautiful plant that grew amazingly well, it did have an odor that was not super pleasant. I think it was because of the amount that I had planted up there. It was just in such a congested area that maybe just, you know, there's smell in numbers, I guess, with that plant. I am going to plant it elsewhere this next year, but it won't be in quite as big of a concentration. And now that I know how big those plants get, I'm not going to plant near as many in such a small space. Joyce asked, does the gonfrina smell strange when it's dried as well? Would you be able to use it as dried flower indoors? Yes, you can use it as a dried flower. It's amazing, and it maintains its color. It did, so I made that wreath. I have it sitting just in the room actually right next to me here. And it smelled for a little while. I don't smell it anymore. So I think the smell just kind of wears off and then you're fine. Shauna said, I love lamb's ear and I want to plant it. Do you cut them back in the fall or spring or just leave them alone? Thanks for all the inspiration. They're a really, really tough plant. I tend to like to cut mine back in the fall because if you don't, they get really soggy and kind of gross and they're kind of hard to clean up in the spring, and that's just personal preference. You can definitely clean them up in the spring instead. Gabby said, how do the flowers on the white supertunias dry? I stay away from masses of white because they look nasty brown when they dry, and I totally get that because a lot of white ones, I don't know, they kind of get like a crusty looking appearance because you see all the dead flowers, but the supertunia snowdrift, you don't see any of those dead flowers. And what happens is your plant grows, it flushes out, and it has got all these beautiful white blooms, and then as those blooms are starting to fade, the plant grows again and kind of covers all of the older blooms, and just keeps doing that to where all you're seeing is fresh blooms. And they are a self-cleaning supertunia, so you do not have to deadhead them. They kind of just like wither up and fall away, and or are buried inside the plant so you can't even see them. I'm really impressed with them. Okay, I think we're on to our last, this is going fast today. I'm on to my last video already. Yesterday we posted a video on creating a festive wreath with natural materials. So I just gathered a bunch of stuff, some of which were from my yard, some of which were from the florist, some of which were from the garden center. And I just wanted to create something that was full of color and texture. Diane said, how long do the dried orange slices last? Do you discard them after the season is over? I don't. I put them in a Ziploc bag and save them from year to year, and they save really well. Plantitude said, I hope I'm not being insensitive, but I'm puzzled why would lotus pods be triggering? So I showed you that I may be using lotus pods, which I'm like on the fence about using lotus pods. I see people use them in garlands and wreaths and it looks gorgeous, but then when I try to use them in my own, I'm like, oh, I just can't quite get there. I've tried 2 different times in videos, actually. I've had them sitting on the table twice and I never use them. And I don't know. I know that, so I did Google this. It's a thing. It does trigger people. It's called trypophobia. It's an aversion to the sight of irregular patterns or clusters of small holes or bumps. It's not officially recognized as a mental disorder, but may be diagnosed as a specific phobia if excessive fear and distress occur. And there's a lot of people out there that have that trigger with lotus pods in particular, so I stayed away from them. Robin said, could you tell me where the lotus pods come from? So I actually ordered those through the florist, and they came in a group of, I don't know, like 5, I think, in a little sleeve. I think you can get them at the craft store though, typically. Claudia said, what type of magnolia do you have? So the one that I had in the video, let me find a good example. This right here. I still have, all of my junk is still sitting out around me like it's a total mess in here. I've got my cinnamon sticks and everything. Oh, I even have a little pumpkin sitting here. Anyway, this magnolia is Magnolia grandiflora. It's a southern magnolia. It's evergreen, zone 6 through 10. They like a pH of, I think, 4.5 to 6.5, so there's a couple reasons why we can't grow them here. It's far too dry, first of all. Second of all, with them liking such acidic soil, I mean, we have some areas in our valley that clock in at 9.2 on the pH scale, so I don't think these would love it. Also, I think on the map we are zoned as a zone 6, but we are not. We are a zone 5. I think you could probably plant something at zone 6 and get away with it for a couple of years, and then we'll have a super bad winter, and it'll kill stuff. So a lot of people, just to be safe, plant for zone 5. Linda said, would you spray it with Wilt Stop to keep it longer? Yes. I have forgotten in 2 videos to use my Wilt Stop. I use it afterward, I just have forgotten to show you guys. So the pots I'm looking at right out here, they have the winterberry, they're 2 urns by the back sun porch, and then my wreath in that video, I forgot to use Wilt Stop, but I have used it. It's a pine resin that coats the evergreens and it helps them from transpiring moisture so they stay fresh for a lot longer. Anyway, definitely something to use on your cut fresh arrangements like that. And that is it, you guys. That's all the questions from this week that we pulled. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. And we are gearing up for another fun week full of festive videos. So we will see you in the next one. Bye.